Hey, sleepers! Tonight, we're drifting beneath the waves to meet the immortal jellyfish that cheats death. Picture yourself floating in a gentle, moonlit sea. All around you, tiny bells shimmer, pulsing softly like lanterns in the dark water. One of these is the jellyfish that refuses to grow old. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. Tell us in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is there. So, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and get ready to drift off as we explore the story of the immortal jellyfish that cheats death. Now, imagine yourself shrinking down, smaller and smaller, until you're no bigger than a grain of sand. You're gliding through the water, and there, floating past you, is a jellyfish so tiny it could balance on your pinky nail. This is the immortal jellyfish, known to scientists Turritopsis Dohrnii. But don't worry about the name. Tonight, it's simply the jelly that can start over. Let's begin at the very start of its life. Picture a jellyfish egg, round and silent, drifting in the ocean. Soon, out comes a plantula, a tiny, wiggling larva like a little speck of hope. It swims for a bit, searching for a safe spot, maybe a smooth pebble or a seashell. When it finds a good place, it settles down and transforms, growing into something called a polyp. Think of a polyp as a sea plant with a secret. It sits still, like a little flower, and waits. But this flower doesn't stay alone for long. The polyp begins to bud, making copies of itself, and soon it's a whole colony, like a family reunion of tiny, sticky sea plants. Out of this crowd, new jellyfish begin to bud and break free. These baby jellyfish, called Medusae, are just as tiny as you imagined, with bells clear as glass and tentacles that trail behind like delicate ribbons. If you could hold one, it would be lighter than a raindrop. The bell of our little jellyfish is only about 3 to 5 millimeters across. That's smaller than a pencil eraser. Imagine something so delicate, so transparent, that it's almost invisible in the water. Its body is like a tiny umbrella made of living jelly, and beneath it hang those graceful tentacles, each one equipped with special stinging cells. Don't worry though, these stings are meant for creatures even tinier than the jellyfish itself. Microscopic animals that drift in the water like dust motes in a sunbeam. As the jellyfish grows, it swims up and down, hunting for tiny bits of food, sometimes even nibbling on other jellyfish. It grows up fast. Life in the ocean is a constant dance of eating and avoiding being eaten. Our little immortal jellyfish drifts with the currents, pulsing its bell to move through the water. It's a simple life, really. Find food, stay safe, grow, reproduce. But here's where things get magical. Most creatures, when they get old, slow down, and eventually their journey ends. But not our immortal jellyfish. When life gets tough, maybe it's injured, hungry, or the water gets too cold, it does something astonishing. It stops, it shrinks, it turns itself into a little jelly lump, a cyst. Imagine curling up in a blanket and deciding to become a baby again. That's what this jellyfish does. The transformation doesn't happen instantly. It takes time, patience, and the right conditions. The jellyfish sinks down to the ocean floor, finding a quiet spot away from the currents. Its bell begins to flatten. Its tentacles start to retract. Slowly, steadily, the adult jellyfish that was swimming freely just hours before begins to look less and less like itself. The transparent bell becomes opaque, The elegant shape becomes a blob. Inside the cyst, its cells begin to change. Imagine if every part of your body, your eyes, your toes, your hair, decided to become something new. The jellyfish's cells, which used to be specialized for swimming and stinging, start to act like stem cells. Stem cells are like blank pieces of clay. They can become anything. For the jellyfish, these cells reorganize, turning back the clock. Soon, the cyst sprouts little roots called stolons and then new polyps. It's as if the jellyfish hit a reset button and became young again. This ability to reverse its life cycle is called ontogeny reversal. That's a big word, but you can think of it as a magical rewind. Ontogeny just means the development of an organism from beginning to end. So when we say ontogeny reversal, we're talking about going backwards through that development. The jellyfish isn't just pretending to be young, it's actually rebuilding itself from scratch. It's the only animal known to do this. And scientists are amazed every time it happens. Think about what this really means. Every other animal on Earth follows a one-way path through life. The caterpillar becomes a butterfly, but can never go back to being a caterpillar. A tadpole becomes a frog, but stays a frog forever. A human baby grows into a child, then a teenager, then an adult. We can't reverse the process. We can't decide one day to become 5 years old again, but the immortal jellyfish can. It can become young again, over and over, potentially without limit. Now, let's imagine ourselves floating beside the jellyfish as it transforms. Picture its bells shrinking, its tentacles fading, until it's just a soft lump on the ocean floor. Then, with patience and quiet, it grows roots and blooms into a polyp colony once more. If you watch carefully, you'll see new jellyfish bud off and swim away, each one a clone of the original. The cycle can repeat again and again. In theory, the jellyfish could do this forever. That's why people call it biologically immortal. Of course, it's not invincible. It can still be eaten, get sick, or face accidents. But as long as it has the chance, it can cheat death again and again. The transformation takes about 2 to 3 days in laboratory conditions. That's not very long when you think about it. In just a couple of days, this creature completely restructures its body, changing from an adult back to a baby form. During this time, the jellyfish is vulnerable. It can't swim away from danger. It can't hunt for food. It's just sitting there rearranging itself at the cellular level, trusting that the ocean will be kind enough to leave it alone while it performs its miracle. The first time scientists noticed this magic was in the Mediterranean Sea, about 100 years ago. But the real secret was discovered by accident in the 1980s. A student named Christian Sommer was working in a lab collecting jellyfish and forgot about a tank of them. When he checked back, he found something strange. Instead of dying, the jellyfish had reverted to polyps, starting their life cycle all over again. It was a discovery that would change how we think about aging. Can you imagine Christian's surprise? He probably expected to find a tank of dead jellyfish, maybe feeling a bit guilty about forgetting them. Instead, he found baby jellyfish and polyps. At first, he might have thought he made a mistake. Maybe he miscounted. Maybe there were always polyps in the tank and he just didn't notice. But as he investigated further, the truth became clear. These jellyfish had done something impossible. They had gone backwards in time. Christian didn't immediately publish his findings. Sometimes when scientists discover something truly surprising, they want to be absolutely sure before they tell the world. So he watched and waited. He conducted more experiments. He showed his colleagues, and eventually the scientific community began to understand that something remarkable had been found. Since then, Scientists around the world have tried to unravel the jellyfish's secrets. They found that its ability to reverse aging depends on special changes in its cells. The process is called transdifferentiation. Imagine your skin cells deciding to become muscle cells, or your hair cells becoming brain cells. That's what's happening inside the jellyfish. Its mature cells become stem-like and then change into the types needed for the polyp stage. Transdifferentiation is rare in nature. Most cells, once they've chosen their career, stick with it for life. A heart cell pumps blood. A brain cell sends signals. A skin cell protects. But in the immortal jellyfish, cells can change their minds. A cell that was part of the bell can become part of a stone. A cell that helped the jellyfish swim can help the polyp stick to a rock. It's like a teacher deciding to become a chef or an artist becoming an engineer. Except it's happening inside a body with millions of cells all changing careers at once. This process requires extraordinary coordination. Imagine a city where everyone decides to switch jobs on the same day. The mail carrier becomes a firefighter. The doctor becomes a bus driver. The chef becomes a banker. Without careful planning, everything would fall apart. But in the jellyfish, there's a master plan. Chemical signals tell each cell what to do and when. Genes turn on and off like switches, guiding the transformation. It's beautiful, really. A symphony of change playing out in a creature smaller than your fingernail. Researchers have found that the jellyfish's genes play a big role. Some genes help repair DNA, keeping the cells fresh and healthy. Others protect against stress and help maintain telomeres. Those are like the plastic tips on shoelaces, keeping chromosomes from fraying. In humans, when telomeres wear down, we age. But the jellyfish seems to keep them in good shape, especially when it resets itself. Let's talk about telomeres for a moment because they're fascinating. Every time a human cell divides, its telomeres get a little shorter. Think of it like a candle burning down. Eventually, the candle runs out and the cell can't divide anymore. This is one of the reasons we age, but the immortal jellyfish seems to have found a way to keep its candles from burning down, or maybe even to add wax back to them. Scientists are still studying exactly how this works, but it appears that during the reversal process, the jellyfish activates special enzymes that maintain and possibly even rebuild telomeres. There's an enzyme called telomerase that can rebuild telomeres. Most adult human cells don't produce much of it, which is probably a good thing. Cancer cells often activate telomerase to become immortal in their own terrible way. But the jellyfish seems to use telomerase safely, rebuilding its cellular foundations without the risk of uncontrolled growth. Let's pause here and imagine the jellyfish's cells as a bustling city. Each cell has its job, but when the city is in trouble, workers can switch careers, fixing roads, rebuilding houses, and keeping everything running smoothly. That's the jellyfish's secret, a flexible, resilient workforce inside its body. When disaster strikes, the city doesn't collapse. Instead, everyone adapts, finding new roles, learning new skills, and working together to rebuild something even stronger than before. In this cellular city, there are also quality control inspectors. These are systems that check for damage and fix it before it becomes a problem. The jellyfish has robust DNA repair mechanisms, teams of molecular workers that patrol the genome, looking for breaks, mistakes, and problems. When they find damage, they fix it. This keeps the jellyfish's genetic instruction manual in good condition, even through multiple rounds of transformation. There are also defense systems protecting against oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is like rust for living things. When cells use oxygen, they create harmful byproducts called free radicals. These can damage cells over time. The jellyfish has enhanced systems for dealing with these free radicals, neutralizing them before they cause trouble. It's like having an excellent housekeeping service that constantly cleans up before mess accumulates. The jellyfish's powers aren't just a curiosity. They've inspired scientists to think about human aging too. Imagine if we could repair our bodies as easily as the jellyfish. What if damaged organs could be renewed or age-related diseases reversed? Some researchers are studying the jellyfish's genes, hoping to learn how to safely reprogram human cells. But it's not as simple as copying nature. Human tissues are much more complex, and reprogramming can sometimes lead to problems like uncontrolled cell growth, cancer. So while the jellyfish is a model of renewal, we have to be careful with our own biology. The human body is vastly more complex than a jellyfish. We have hearts with 4 chambers, lungs with millions of tiny air sacs, brains with billions of neurons forming trillions of connections. The jellyfish has no brain, no heart, no lungs. Its nervous system is simple, like a net spread throughout its body. This simplicity might be part of what makes reversal possible. With fewer moving parts, there's less that can go wrong during transformation. But even though we can't simply copy the jellyfish's trick, we can learn from its principles. Scientists are particularly interested in how the jellyfish controls cell reprogramming without triggering cancer. In mammals, cells that start dividing uncontrollably become tumors, but the jellyfish seems to have safeguards that prevent this. Understanding these safeguards could help us develop safer therapies for regenerating damaged tissues. Let's return to the jellyfish's world. Turritopsis dohrnii is native to the Mediterranean, but thanks to ships and ocean currents, it's now found all over the globe. It's tiny, harmless to humans, and easily overlooked. In fact, most of the time, it's busy dodging predators, surviving in a world full of dangers. Even with its powers, most jellyfish don't live forever in the wild, but in labs, they've shown that they can reverse their life cycle many times. The Mediterranean Sea is a beautiful place, warm and blue, surrounded by ancient civilizations. For thousands of years, people have sailed these waters, fished in them, swum in them, never knowing that an immortal creature lived beneath the waves. The jellyfish drifted quietly, doing what it has always done, living, transforming, living again. But in the modern era, ships began to change the ocean. Large vessels take on ballast water in one port and release it in another, sometimes thousands of miles away. In this water travel countless small creatures, including our immortal jellyfish. A jellyfish might be sucked into a ship's ballast tank in Italy, sleep through a voyage across the Atlantic, and wake up in New York Harbor, or it might travel from Spain to Japan, or from Greece to Australia. This is how the jellyfish became a world traveler, not by swimming great distances, but by hitchhiking on ships. Today, you can find the immortal jellyfish in oceans all around the world. It lives in the Caribbean, off the coast of Japan, near Australia, in the waters of Panama. It's a global citizen, adapting to different temperatures and conditions, setting up new polyp colonies wherever it lands. Not all jellyfish are so lucky. Some close relatives, like Turritopsis rubra, can't fully reset themselves. It's a reminder that even in nature, immortality is rare and precious. Scientists are still studying what makes Turritopsis dohrnii special. Is it a unique set of genes, or a combination of cell tricks and environmental cues? The answer is still unfolding. The fact that some related species can't perform the same trick tells us something important. This ability isn't just a feature of all jellyfish or even all Turritopsis species. It's specific to this particular species, the result of specific evolutionary adaptations. Somewhere in this jellyfish's genome are the instructions that make reversal possible. Scientists are working to identify exactly which genes are involved and how they work together. In recent years, Researchers have begun to sequence the jellyfish's entire genome to read its complete genetic instruction manual. This work, completed in the early 2020s, revealed fascinating details. The immortal jellyfish has extra copies of certain genes involved in DNA repair. It has unique variants of genes that control stem cell behavior. Its genome shows signs of adaptations for maintaining genome stability and managing cellular stress. Let's take another visualization moment. Imagine yourself floating in a warm, quiet sea surrounded by tiny jellyfish. Each one pulses gently, a living lantern. You watch as one begins to slow, shrinking and curling into a soft lump, then sprouting roots and becoming a polyp colony. It's a cycle of renewal, a dance of life and youth. Around you, the water is peaceful. Sunlight filters down from above, creating shimmering patterns. Small fish dart past. The ocean floor below is dotted with rocks and shells, each one potentially hosting invisible polyp colonies, waiting to release new jellyfish into the water. Throughout history, people have searched for ways to live longer. Ancient legends speak of fountains of youth and magical elixirs. The ancient Greek myths told of ambrosia, the food of the gods that granted immortality. Chinese emperors sought the elixir of life. Spanish conquistadors searched for the fountain of youth in Florida. People have always dreamed of conquering death, of finding some secret that would let them live forever. But here, in the ocean's depths, a tiny jellyfish is quietly living the dream. It's not loud or flashy. It doesn't boast. It simply resets again and again, teaching us that nature is full of surprises. While humans search the world for magical solutions, the answer was there all along, drifting in the sea, overlooked because it was too small and strange to notice. There's something humbling about this. We think of ourselves as the pinnacle of evolution, the smartest and most advanced creatures on Earth. Yet a brainless jellyfish has solved a problem that still baffles us. It's a reminder that intelligence and complexity aren't everything. Sometimes simplicity and flexibility are more powerful. Let's meet some of the scientists who've helped unlock this mystery. Christian Sommer, the student who first saw the reversal. Ferdinando Boero, who helped clarify the jellyfish's taxonomy and life cycle. But it's not just famous names. Many researchers from Italy to Japan to the United States have worked together, sharing samples, ideas, and discoveries. In the spirit of collaboration, they've built a global picture of the jellyfish's powers. Ferdinando Boero is a marine biologist who has spent decades studying jellyfish. He worked to clarify which species was which, because jellyfish can be difficult to identify. For years, scientists confused different species of Turritopsis, calling some by the wrong names. Boero helped sort out the confusion, confirming that Turritopsis Dohrnii was indeed the species with the remarkable reversal ability. His work helped establish a foundation for all the research that followed. One scientist, Dr. Maria Pia Migueta, has studied the jellyfish's spread around the world. She's shown that ships carrying ballast water have helped the jellyfish colonize distant oceans. It's a reminder that even tiny creatures can travel far, hitching rides on human journeys. Migueta has collected specimens from various oceans, comparing their genetics, tracing their origins, and mapping their spread. Her work shows how human activity reshapes the ocean, sometimes in unexpected ways. Other researchers have focused on the cellular mechanisms. Teams in Spain and Japan have kept immortal jellyfish in laboratories, carefully documenting their transformations. They've watched through microscopes as cells change type. They've measured gene expression at different stages of reversal. They've tested what conditions trigger transformation. Is it hunger, physical damage, temperature stress? All of these can work, but some are more reliable than others. Let's pause and imagine a jellyfish floating in the ballast tank of a ship, journeying across continents, ready to start its life anew in a faraway sea. It's a story of resilience and adventure. The jellyfish doesn't know it's traveling. It has no sense of geography or destiny. It simply exists, pulsing in the darkness of the tank, feeding on tiny organisms if it can find them, or curling into a cyst if conditions become too harsh. When the ship finally reaches port and flushes its ballast water, the jellyfish emerges into an entirely new world. The water might be a different temperature. The local prey might be slightly different species, but the jellyfish adapts. It finds a place to settle its polyp form, and soon it's part of a new ecosystem, thousands of miles from where it began. This kind of dispersal isn't unique to the immortal jellyfish. Many marine species have spread around the world via ship ballast water and hull fouling, but the jellyfish's ability to reverse its life cycle might give it an extra advantage. If conditions in the new environment are harsh, it can wait them out in polyp form. If food is scarce, it can transform back to a polyp and try again later. This flexibility might help explain why it has successfully colonized so many different oceans. But there's more to the jellyfish than just its life cycle. Its cells are a treasure trove of secrets. Scientists have discovered that during reversal, waves of cell death and renewal sweep through its body. Old cells are cleared away and new ones take their place. The process is orchestrated by genes that control DNA repair, stress resistance, and stem cell behavior. Some of these genes are found in humans too, but in the jellyfish, they seem to work in harmony, allowing safe and complete renewal. This process of cell death, called apoptosis, isn't random or chaotic. It's carefully controlled. Certain cells need to die to make room for new ones. Think of it like renovating a house. You can't just start building new walls without first tearing down the old ones. The jellyfish's body breaks down structures that aren't needed in the polyp stage and builds new structures that are. At the same time, cell division ramps up. New cells are born, fresh and undifferentiated. These baby cells are ready to become whatever the polyp needs. Some will become cells that help the polyp stick to rocks. Others will become cells that catch food. Still others will eventually contribute to the next generation of Medusa jellyfish. Scientists have identified specific signaling pathways involved in this process. These are like communication networks inside the body. One important pathway is called Nth signaling. It helps control cell fate decisions, whether a cell becomes one type or another. The jellyfish appears to reactivate Nth signaling during reversal, essentially turning on developmental programs that are normally only active during early life. Another pathway involves growth factors that promote stem cell characteristics. Think of these as messages that tell cells to stay flexible and unspecialized. By activating these pathways, the jellyfish essentially tells its cells, forget what you were, go back to being blank slates. There are also systems that remodel chromatin, the way DNA is packaged in the cell. DNA isn't just a loose string, it's wrapped around proteins and organized in complex three-dimensional structures. Different packaging patterns make different genes accessible or hidden. During reversal, the jellyfish reorganizes its chromatin, making genes for polyp development accessible while hiding genes for Medusa development. It's like rearranging a library so that different books are on the front shelf. Imagine a conductor leading an orchestra. Each gene plays its part, creating a symphony of renewal. If one instrument is out of tune, the process fails. But in Turritopsis Dohrnii, the music is just right. Every section comes in at the correct moment. The strings provide the melody of cell migration. The brass announces waves of cell division. The woodwinds carry the harmony of differentiation. Together they create something beautiful, a transformation that seems almost magical. There's a special set of molecules called pernos that help keep the jellyfish's genome stable. They act like security guards, preventing rogue elements from causing trouble. In humans, similar systems help protect our cells, but in the jellyfish, they seem to be extra vigilant during reversal. What are these rogue elements? They're called transposable elements, or jumping genes. These are pieces of DNA that can copy themselves and move around the genome. If left unchecked, they can insert themselves into important genes, causing mutations and problems. Most organisms have systems to keep these jumping genes under control. The pioneer system is one such defense. The name pioneer stands for pathway interacting RNA. But you don't need to remember that. Just think of them as molecular guards that patrol the genome, recognizing transposable elements and silencing them. During the jellyfish's reversal, when cells are dividing rapidly and reprogramming extensively, there's a higher risk that transposable elements might become active. The pioneer system works overtime during this period, ensuring genome stability. This is crucial because genome instability is one of the hallmarks of cancer. If cells start accumulating mutations, they can become dangerous. The jellyfish's robust genome maintenance systems might be part of how it avoids cancer during reversal. Let's take another visualization moment. Picture the jellyfish's DNA as a library. Each book holds instructions for life. Some books tell how to build a swimming bell. Others explain how to grow tentacles. Still others contain recipes for stinging cells. When it's time to reset, librarians sweep through, repairing pages, restoring order, and making sure everything is ready for a fresh start. They rearrange the shelves, moving polyp books to the front and Medusa books to the back. They check every volume for damage, fixing torn pages and reinforcing bindings. They evict any troublemakers, those jumping genes trying to cause mischief. When they're done, the library is fresh and organized, ready to guide the development of a new polyp. But even the immortal jellyfish has limits. Its powers depend on its health, age, and the kind of stress it faces. Not every reversal is successful. Sometimes the jellyfish is too damaged, or the conditions aren't right. In nature, most jellyfish are eaten, infected, or swept away before they get the chance to reset. Immortality is a possibility, not a guarantee. Let's think about this carefully. The term biologically immortal sounds absolute, but it's not. It means the jellyfish doesn't age in the traditional sense. It doesn't gradually deteriorate over time, but it can still die. A fish can eat it. A disease can kill it. A storm can batter it against rocks. If a jellyfish gets badly injured before it can complete reversal, it will die. If environmental conditions are too extreme, reversal might fail. Scientists have found that healthier, younger jellyfish are more successful at reversal than older or damaged ones. This makes sense. If you're trying to rebuild a house, it's easier if the foundation is still solid. A jellyfish that has been swimming around for months, accumulating small damages, might struggle to reverse successfully. A fresher jellyfish has a better chance. The type of stress also matters. Starvation reliably triggers reversal in laboratory conditions. Physical injury can trigger it, but might also make it harder to complete. Temperature shock sometimes works. Scientists are still mapping out all the conditions that favor successful reversal. In laboratory settings, scientists have documented jellyfish reversing multiple times. There are reports of individual jellyfish going through the cycle 10 times or more. But in the wild, we simply don't know how often this happens or how many times a single jellyfish might reverse over its lifetime. The ocean is vast and jellyfish are tiny. Tracking a single individual is nearly impossible. Let's lighten the mood with a jellyfish joke. Why did the jellyfish refuse to join the circus? Because it couldn't handle the tentacle-twisting tricks. Imagine a tiny circus with jellyfish performers. The ringmaster calls out, "And now, the amazing floating jelly who will tie itself in knots, but the jellyfish just drifts there, gently pulsing, looking confused. Jellyfish aren't very good at following directions. They don't have brains after all. They just float along, doing what feels right, living their simple, mysterious life. Now, think about the jellyfish's place in the ocean. It's small, transparent, and gentle. It's not a threat to humans. In fact, you could swim right past one and never notice. Its sting is too weak to harm people. You might feel a tiny tickle if a tentacle brushed your skin, but nothing more. This jellyfish isn't like those dangerous box jellyfish that inhabit tropical waters, the ones with stings that can be deadly. No, the immortal jellyfish is peaceful, almost invisible, a ghost in the water. Its global spread is more about hitchhiking than conquering. It's a quiet traveler, blending into the background. It doesn't outcompete native species or disrupt ecosystems in obvious ways. It simply finds a niche and fills it, living alongside the existing community of ocean creatures. In this way, it's different from many invasive species that cause ecological havoc when they arrive in new places. Some people wonder if the jellyfish's powers could help humans live longer. Scientists dream of using its secrets to repair organs, heal injuries, and fight aging. Imagine a world where damaged hearts could be regenerated, where stroke victims could regrow lost brain tissue, where old age didn't mean frailty and decline. These are beautiful dreams, and the immortal jellyfish offers a glimpse of what might be possible. But there are big challenges. Our bodies are complex, and reprogramming cells can be risky. If the process goes wrong, cells might grow out of control, leading to cancer. So, while the jellyfish offers hope, it also reminds us to be careful. The path from jellyfish to human therapy is long and uncertain, paved with experiments, failures, and gradual progress. One approach scientists are exploring is partial reprogramming. Instead of trying to reverse an entire organism, what if we could just rejuvenate specific tissues? What if we could take old skin cells and reset them to a younger state, then use them to heal wounds? Or take heart cells damaged by disease and give them a fresh start? This is more feasible than whole body reversal, but it still carries risks. In 2006, a scientist named Shinya Yamanaka discovered that adult cells could be reprogrammed into stem cells by activating just 4 genes. This discovery won him a Nobel Prize and opened new avenues in regenerative medicine. But there's a catch. Those same 4 factors can cause cancer if not carefully controlled. Scientists must find ways to use these powerful tools safely. The immortal jellyfish doesn't use the exact same system as Yamanaka's factors, but it does something functionally similar. By studying the jellyfish, scientists hope to discover alternative approaches to reprogramming methods that might be safer or more efficient. Maybe the jellyfish has additional safeguards that prevent cancer. Maybe its process is slower and more controlled. These are questions that researchers are actively investigating. Ethical questions abound. If humans could reverse aging, who would get access? Would it be fair? These are not just scientific questions, they're questions about society and values. Imagine a treatment that could add decades to your life, keeping you healthy and vigorous into what we now consider old age. Sounds wonderful, right? But what if this treatment costs millions of dollars? Only the wealthy could afford it. Society would be divided between those who age normally and those who stay young indefinitely. It doesn't sound very fair. What would happen to society if people lived much longer? How would we care for our planet? Right now, Earth already struggles to support 8 billion humans. We are depleting resources, warming the climate, and driving species extinct. If people started living for centuries instead of decades, population growth could accelerate. We'd need more food, more energy, more space. Could the planet handle it? And if we could reset our bodies, would our minds stay the same? This is a profound question. Your body might become young again, but your brain would still hold a lifetime of memories. Would you feel young or old? Would your personality change? Some philosophers worry about personal identity. If you reset your body multiple times over centuries, are you still the same person? These are questions for philosophers, doctors, and dreamers. For now, scientists focus on safer goals: repairing tissues, treating diseases, and learning from the jellyfish's resilience. They emphasize safety, equality, and the wisdom of nature. The goal isn't to make humans immortal. The goal is to help people live healthier lives, free from the diseases and disabilities that so often accompany aging. Imagine using the jellyfish's principles to treat neurodegenerative diseases. Right now, conditions like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's are devastating. Brain cells die and they don't regenerate. But what if we could use reprogramming techniques to create new neurons, replacing the ones that were lost? What if we could reverse the cellular damage that causes these diseases? Or consider heart disease, the leading cause of death worldwide. After a heart attack, heart muscle cells die, leaving scar tissue that doesn't function properly. But what if damaged hearts could regenerate, growing fresh muscle tissue? The jellyfish shows us that such regeneration is possible in nature. Now we must figure out how to adapt those lessons for human medicine. There are researchers working on growing organs in laboratories. They start with stem cells and coax them into becoming heart cells, liver cells, kidney cells. The ultimate goal is to grow replacement organs for people who need transplants. The immortal jellyfish's reprogramming abilities offer insights that could make this work better. How does the jellyfish ensure that reprogrammed cells become the right type? How does it coordinate the development of whole tissues? These are lessons we need to learn. Let's take another moment to visualize. Imagine yourself floating in a peaceful sea, watching a jellyfish pulse, shrink, and bloom anew. It's a symbol of hope, renewal, and the endless cycles of life. The water around you is calm and clear. You're weightless, drifting, relaxed. Below you, the jellyfish completes its transformation. It's now a tiny polyp attached to a rock, already beginning to bud new jellyfish. The cycle continues, as it has for millions of years, as it might for millions more. This jellyfish has been on Earth for a long time. Jellyfish as a group are ancient, dating back more than 500 million years. They existed before fish, before dinosaurs, before flowering plants. They've survived multiple mass extinctions, adapting to changing oceans, persisting through ice ages and warm periods. And Turritopsis, Dohrnii, with its special trick, represents the pinnacle of jellyfish evolution, a creature that has solved one of life's fundamental problems. But let's not romanticize too much. The jellyfish doesn't think about immortality. It doesn't have goals or dreams. It simply responds to its environment, following genetic programs shaped by millions of years of evolution. When stressed, it transforms. When conditions improve, it grows and reproduces. It's all automatic, mechanical in a sense, yet still miraculous. As we drift toward the end of our journey, remember that the immortal jellyfish is a teacher. It shows us that aging isn't always a straight line. Sometimes, nature finds a way to start over. The jellyfish teaches us humility, reminding us that we don't have all the answers. The simple creature can do things we cannot. It teaches us hope, showing that renewal is possible, that life can surprise us with its creativity. And it teaches us caution, demonstrating that powerful abilities come with complexity and risk. It invites us to wonder, to dream, and to respect the mysteries of the ocean. The ocean covers more than 70% of our planet, yet we've explored less than 5% of it. Who knows what other mysteries wait in the deep? What other creatures have abilities we can't imagine? What other lessons could nature teach us if we paid closer attention? The immortal jellyfish lived in our oceans for countless generations, unnoticed, unremarked upon, until a forgetful student left a tank unattended and stumbled upon its secret. How many other secrets are out there waiting to be discovered? How many creatures are quietly doing impossible things right now in waters we've never explored? Let's think about what the jellyfish's existence means for our understanding of biology. For decades, scientists believed that aging was inevitable, that all living things must eventually wear out and die. The immortal jellyfish challenges that assumption. It shows us that biological immortality isn't just theoretically possible, it actually exists. This one small creature proves that the rules we thought were universal actually have exceptions. This reminds us to question our assumptions. Science is built on observation and experimentation, not on what we think should be true. The jellyfish didn't read textbooks about why aging is inevitable. It just evolved its remarkable ability, completely indifferent to our theories. Nature doesn't care about our models and assumptions. It simply is what it is. Throughout history, scientists have made confident declarations that later turned out to be wrong. People once believed that the Earth was the center of the universe. We thought that continents were fixed in place. We assumed that species never changed. Each time, new observations forced us to revise our understanding. The immortal jellyfish is another reminder that nature is full of surprises, and we should stay humble and curious. Let's spend a moment imagining the jellyfish's ancestors. Millions of years ago, there were jellyfish that couldn't reverse their life cycles. They lived, reproduced, and died, just like most creatures. But somewhere along the line, a mutation occurred. Maybe one jellyfish, when stressed, managed to partially revert to an earlier stage. This individual survived when others died. It passed its genes to offspring over countless generations. Natural selection refined the ability, making it more reliable, more complete. We don't know exactly when or how this happened. The fossil record for jellyfish is sparse. They're mostly water, after all, and don't preserve well, but we can imagine the process. Evolution doesn't plan ahead. It doesn't have goals. It's simply that individuals with helpful traits survive and reproduce more successfully. The ability to reverse aging would be tremendously helpful in harsh or variable environments. When food runs out, transform to a polyp and wait. When the environment improves, grow into a medusa again. This ability might have evolved in response to the Mediterranean's seasonal patterns. The Mediterranean experiences warm summers and cooler winters. Food availability changes with the seasons. A jellyfish that could wait out the lean times would have an advantage. Over time, this waiting strategy became more sophisticated, until eventually the jellyfish could completely reverse its development. It's interesting that this ability is rare. If biological immortality is so advantageous, why don't more species have it? There must be trade-offs. Perhaps the reversal process is energetically expensive. Perhaps it only works in relatively simple organisms. Perhaps there are genetic constraints that make it difficult to evolve. Whatever the reasons, Turritopsis Dohrnii appears to have hit upon a unique solution that works for its particular lifestyle. Let's think about the jellyfish's daily life in more detail. Imagine being a jellyfish for a day. You wake, though you don't really sleep, in the water column, gently pulsing your bell. You have no eyes, but you can sense light and dark. You drift upward during the night when many small prey animals come to the surface. Your tentacles trail behind you, loaded with stinging cells called nematocysts. These stinging cells are remarkable in their own right. Each one is like a tiny harpoon, coiled inside a capsule under pressure. When a prey animal touches the trigger, The harpoon explodes outward faster than almost any other biological process. It accelerates at more than 5 million times the force of gravity. The harpoon pierces the prey and injects toxins. All this happens in less than a microsecond. Your prey might be tiny crustaceans, fish larvae, or other jellyfish. When something touches your tentacles, you don't decide to sting it. The process is automatic. Your tentacles then contract, bringing the prey to your mouth. Yes, jellyfish have mouths located in the center of their bill's underside. You digest the food in a simple stomach cavity, and waste exits through the same opening. It's a simple system, but it works. During the day, you might sink deeper, avoiding bright sunlight and following your prey. You pulse your bell rhythmically, moving with surprising grace for a creature without a brain. Your nervous system is a diffuse net of neurons spread throughout your body. You don't think, but you respond. You sense and react. In some ways, you're more like a living plant than an animal, yet you move and hunt and survive. As days pass, you grow. You might mate, releasing eggs or sperm into the water. If you're female, some eggs might be fertilized, beginning new jellyfish lives, but you don't care for your offspring. You don't even know they exist. You simply release them and continue drifting. Then, one day, food becomes scarce, or perhaps you're injured in a storm, or the water temperature drops suddenly. Your body responds to the stress. Chemical signals cascade through your tissues. Genes activate. You begin to sink. Your body starts to change. This is the beginning of your transformation, your journey back to youth. Over the next 2 or 3 days, you compress and reshape. It's not painful. You don't have the neural structures to feel pain. It's simply what happens. Your bell flattens. Your tentacles retract. Your cells begin their remarkable dance of transdifferentiation. A muscle cell becomes a skin cell. A digestive cell becomes a stem cell. Everything rearranges. Finally, you're a blob on the ocean floor. Stolen roots begin to grow, seeking a solid surface. They find a rock and attach. A polyp forms. You're now in your young form again, genetically identical to before, but structurally transformed. You sit and wait, feeding on tiny particles that drift past. In time, when conditions are right, you'll bud new medusae. The cycle begins again. How does it feel to be the jellyfish? You can't know. The jellyfish has no sense of self, no memory of its previous form. It doesn't know it's immortal. It simply exists, moment by moment, responding to its environment with elegant simplicity. Let's talk about some of the practical challenges scientists face when studying these jellyfish. First, they're tiny and fragile. Collecting them without damage is difficult. Keeping them alive in laboratories requires carefully maintained tanks with the right temperature, salinity, and food supply. Scientists have to culture tiny prey organisms to feed them, usually baby brine shrimp or other microscopic crustaceans. Inducing transformation requires stressing the jellyfish, but not so much that they die. It's a delicate balance. Too little stress and nothing happens. Too much stress and the jellyfish dies before transforming. Scientists have experimented with different stress types and intensities, learning what works best. Watching the transformation requires patience and careful observation. Remember, it takes days. Scientists must check regularly without disturbing the jellyfish too much. They use microscopes to document cellular changes. They take samples of tissue at different stages to analyze gene expression. They photograph and video record the process. Some researchers use time-lapse photography, taking a photo every few hours and then playing them back quickly. This way, they can watch the entire transformation in just minutes, seeing patterns that would be invisible in real-time observation. It's like watching a flower bloom, but instead of petals opening, you see a jellyfish melting down and rebuilding itself. Genetic studies require different techniques. Scientists extract DNA and RNA from jellyfish tissues. They sequence the genome, reading the complete genetic code. They compare gene expression at different life stages. They look for genes that are active during transformation but quiet at other times. They compare the immortal jellyfish's genome to those of related species that can't transform. All this work is painstaking and time-consuming. Science moves slowly, one experiment at a time, one paper at a time. But gradually, piece by piece, we're assembling a picture of how the jellyfish accomplishes its miracle. There's something beautiful about this collaborative process. Scientists in different countries, speaking different languages, working in different laboratories, all contributing pieces to the same puzzle. A researcher in Spain observes one aspect of transformation. A team in Japan sequences key genes. An American scientist develops a new technique for culturing jellyfish. An Italian researcher shares specimens with colleagues worldwide. Together, they build understanding that no one could achieve alone. This is science at its best, international, collaborative, driven by curiosity rather than profit or politics. The immortal jellyfish doesn't care about national borders or funding cycles. It just does its thing, and scientists from all backgrounds work together to understand it. Let's think about some of the specific genes and pathways involved. We've mentioned Wnt signaling, which helps control cell fate. This pathway is ancient, found in animals from jellyfish to humans. When active, it promotes stem cell characteristics and can trigger developmental programs. During jellyfish reversal, Wnt signaling ramps up, essentially telling cells to forget their specialized identities and become flexible again. Another important pathway involves a protein called p53, sometimes called the guardian of the genome. In humans, p53 helps prevent cancer by detecting damage and either repairing it or triggering cell death. The immortal jellyfish has enhanced versions of p53-related genes, giving it extra protection during the chaotic process of transformation. There are also genes involved in managing oxidative stress. When cells are very active, dividing, migrating, transforming, they produce more free radicals, those damaging molecules we mentioned earlier. The jellyfish has robust antioxidant systems, including enhanced versions of genes that produce protective enzymes. Think of these as molecular shields, protecting vulnerable cells during transformation. Telomere maintenance is another crucial factor. The telomerase enzyme, which rebuilds telomeres, is highly active in the jellyfish. This keeps chromosomes healthy through multiple rounds of cell division. Without proper telomere maintenance, cells would age even as they divide, eventually losing the ability to function properly. There are also chromatin remodeling complexes, molecular machines that reorganize how DNA is packaged. These allow the jellyfish to access genes that were previously locked away and hide genes that are no longer needed. It's like rearranging a file cabinet, bringing certain files to the front while archiving others. The Piona system we discussed earlier involves thousands of small RNA molecules that recognize and silence transposable elements. This system works with proteins of the PIY family, named after a fruit fly mutation that caused interesting developmental effects. Together, Pionas and PIY proteins patrol the genome, maintaining order during the chaos of transformation. All these systems work together. It's not just one gene or one pathway. It's a coordinated effort involving hundreds of genes, thousands of proteins, and countless molecular interactions. The jellyfish's cells are like a well-rehearsed orchestra, where every musician knows their part and plays it at precisely the right moment. Scientists are also interested in how the jellyfish avoids cancer. Cancer is essentially a failure of cellular organization. Cells that divide when they shouldn't, ignore death signals, and invade other tissues. During reversal, the jellyfish's cells are dividing rapidly, reprogramming extensively, and moving around. All of these are cancer-like behaviors. Yet the jellyfish doesn't develop tumors. Why not? There must be safeguards. Perhaps the p53-like genes are part of the answer, catching damaged cells before they become problematic. Perhaps the Pioneer system prevents the genetic instability that often precedes cancer. Perhaps there are other mechanisms we haven't discovered yet. Understanding these safeguards could help us develop better cancer treatments. Imagine if we could give human cells the same protections. During chemotherapy, doctors kill cancer cells, but often damage healthy cells too. What if we could temporarily boost cells' protective systems, making them more resistant to damage? Or what if we could safely reprogram cells in damaged organs without risk of cancer? The jellyfish might hold clues to these possibilities. Let's take another peaceful visualization. You're floating in deep water now, in the twilight zone where sunlight barely reaches. Around you, bioluminescent creatures flash and glow. There, in the darkness, is our immortal jellyfish, almost invisible. It pulses gently, each movement creating tiny currents. It's hunting, or maybe just drifting, carried by slow ocean currents. It's lived for months, maybe years. It might have transformed once, twice, or many times. It holds secrets inside its simple body. Secrets that could change medicine, extend lives, heal injuries. But it doesn't know any of this. It's simply, the ocean is full of creatures with remarkable abilities. There are fish that never freeze, even in polar waters, because they produce antifreeze proteins. There are octopuses that can squeeze through impossibly small spaces because they have no rigid bones. There are tardigrades, tiny animals that can survive in the vacuum of space, withstand radiation, and revive after being completely dried out. Nature is incredibly creative, but biological immortality through life cycle reversal, that's unique to our jellyfish. It's such an elegant solution to aging. Instead of fighting the accumulation of damage, just start over. Instead of patching and repairing an old body, build a new one using the original instructions. It's radical, thorough, and apparently sustainable. We should ask ourselves, what can we learn from this? Not just about biology and medicine, but about life itself. The jellyfish teaches us about flexibility and adaptability. When conditions change, it changes too. It doesn't rigidly cling to one form, it transforms as needed. There's a metaphor here for how we might approach our own lives. We can't physically transform like the jellyfish, but we can remain flexible in our thinking, adaptable in our habits. When life gets difficult, when we face setbacks or stress, we can find ways to renew ourselves, not literally of course, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. The jellyfish also teaches us about simplicity. It has no brain, no complex organs, yet it accomplishes something humans have dreamed about for millennia. Sometimes, simpler systems are more robust. Complexity creates fragility. The more parts a machine has, the more can go wrong. The jellyfish's simplicity might be essential to its immortality. This doesn't mean we should abandon complexity. Our brains, for all their vulnerability, give us consciousness, creativity, love, and wonder. We wouldn't want to trade these for immortality, but perhaps we can find a balance, preserving what makes us human while learning from the jellyfish's elegant solutions. Let's think about the future of this research. Where might it lead in 10, 20, or 50 years? Scientists are optimistic but cautious. They believe the jellyfish will continue to reveal secrets. Each new technique, better microscopes, more sophisticated genetic tools, advanced computer modeling allows deeper understanding. In the near term, we might see applications in wound healing, If we can understand how the jellyfish coordinates tissue regeneration, we might develop better treatments for burns, injuries, and surgical wounds. Imagine a cream or treatment that could dramatically speed healing by activating the body's own regenerative programs. In the medium term, we might see applications in organ repair. If we can safely reprogram cells in diseased organs, we could treat conditions that are currently incurable: heart disease, kidney failure, liver damage. These might become manageable through regenerative medicine inspired by the jellyfish. In the longer term, perhaps we'll develop anti-aging therapies, not immortality, but healthier aging. Imagine if 70-year-olds had the physical vitality of 40-year-olds. Imagine if age-related decline could be slowed or partially reversed. People could remain active and independent longer. The burden of age-related diseases on healthcare systems would decrease. But we must proceed carefully. Every medical advance carries risks. The thalidomide disaster of the 1960s reminds us what happens when drugs aren't properly tested. The history of gene therapy includes tragic failures alongside remarkable successes. We must move forward thoughtfully with rigorous safety testing and ethical oversight. There's also the question of whether we should pursue these technologies. Just because we can do something doesn't mean we should. Some philosophers argue that death gives life meaning. If we could live for centuries, would we value each day as much? Would we procrastinate endlessly? Knowing we had unlimited time, would we lose our sense of urgency and purpose? Others argue that suffering and death are bad and reducing them is good. If we can help people live longer, healthier lives, we have a moral obligation to do so. Why accept aging and death as inevitable when nature shows us they might not be? These are deep questions without easy answers. Different cultures, religions, and philosophical traditions offer different perspectives. Some embrace the possibility of extended life. Others see wisdom in accepting natural limits. There's no universal agreement, and perhaps there shouldn't be. These are questions each society and each individual must answer for themselves. What's clear is that the immortal jellyfish will continue to fascinate us. It's become a symbol appearing in articles, documentaries, and popular culture. People love the idea of an immortal creature. It captures our imagination, appeals to our dreams, and challenges our assumptions. But let's remember that the jellyfish itself is unconscious of its fame. It drifts in the ocean, as it has for millennia, following ancient patterns, responding to simple cues. It doesn't know it's immortal. It doesn't aspire or hope or dream. It simply exists, and in its existence, it offers us a gift, a glimpse of what's possible, a challenge to our understanding, and an invitation to wonder. As we near the end of our journey tonight, let's return to the beginning. Picture yourself back in that moonlit sea, surrounded by tiny glowing bells. You understand now what you're seeing. Each jellyfish is a survivor, potentially immortal, carrying within its simple body the secrets of renewal. They pulse around you like heartbeats, like whispers, like gentle reminders that life is strange and marvelous. You watch one jellyfish begin its transformation. It sinks slowly, gracefully, settling on the sandy bottom. Its movements slow. Its form begins to change. There's no drama, no fanfare. It's just a quiet miracle happening in the dark water, witnessed by no one except you in your imagination. And you realize something profound. Immortality isn't what you thought it was. It's not about living forever in the same form. It's not about resisting change or clinging to youth. It's about transformation. It's about being willing to let go of what you are to become something new. It's about cycles and renewal, endings and beginnings woven together. The jellyfish dies and is reborn, dies and is reborn in an endless cycle. each time it transforms, is it still the same jellyfish? Philosophers might debate this, but perhaps the question misses the point. The jellyfish doesn't worry about identity or continuity. It simply continues, and in continuing, it lives. There's a paradox here. To live forever, the jellyfish must be willing to stop being what it is. It must surrender its adult form, dissolve into a cyst, and trust the process of renewal. It can't cling to its Medusa form and also transform. It must let go. Maybe there's a lesson in that for us. Not literally, of course. We can't transform like jellyfish, but perhaps we can embrace change more willingly. Perhaps we can let go of old versions of ourselves, outdated beliefs, habits that no longer serve us. Perhaps we can trust in our own capacity for renewal. Each night when we sleep, in a small way, we do this. We let go of the day. We rest. We dream. And when we wake, we're slightly renewed. Not completely, not dramatically, but enough to continue. Sleep is our small daily transformation, our gentle reminder that life is cyclical. As you lie here now, drifting towards sleep, you're participating in your own cycle of renewal. Your body is repairing itself. Your brain is processing the day's experiences, consolidating memories, clearing out cellular waste. You're not turning back into a polyp, but you are transforming in subtle ways. By tomorrow morning, you'll be slightly different, refreshed, renewed, ready for a new day. The immortal jellyfish, in its extreme way, is doing what all life does, adapting, surviving, continuing. It's just found a more dramatic solution than none. And in doing so, it reminds us that biology is full of possibilities we haven't imagined, solutions we haven't considered, miracles hiding in plain sight. So as you settle into sleep, picture the tiny jellyfish one last time, pulsing gently in the moonlit water. It's been doing this for millions of years. It'll continue long after we're gone. It's a thread of life, stretching back to ancient oceans and forward to futures we can't predict. And for this moment, you're connected to it through curiosity and wonder. The jellyfish doesn't know you exist, but you know it exists, and in knowing, you're changed. You've learned something tonight about the possibilities of life, about the creativity of evolution, about the mysteries that remain unsolved. You've glimpsed something beautiful and strange. As your breathing slows and deepens, as your thoughts begin to drift, let the image of the jellyfish drift with you. Let it be a peaceful companion on your journey into sleep. Imagine it pulsing in rhythm with your breath, in and out, up and down, a gentle meditation in living form. The ocean rocks you like a cradle. The water is warm and safe. The tiny jellyfish floats nearby, glowing faintly, keeping you company. You're weightless, peaceful, completely relaxed. Nothing is required of you. You don't need to understand everything. You don't need to solve the mysteries. You just need to rest. And as you rest, remember that you're part of the same story as the jellyfish. You're made of atoms forged in ancient stars. Your cells share DNA with every living thing on Earth. You're connected to the jellyfish, to the ocean, to the planet itself. You're not separate. You're part of something vast and ancient and ongoing. The jellyfish transforms. The ocean flows. The planet spins. And you breathe and rest and renew yourself in your own way. It's all one process, one dance of matter and energy, one story being told across billions of years. Let yourself dissolve now into that story. Let your boundaries blur. You're not just yourself. You're also the water, the jellyfish, the moonlight on the waves. Your consciousness experiencing itself, matter becoming aware, the universe knowing its own wonder. And in this moment of dissolution, there's peace. There's no fear, no worry, no need to be anywhere or do anything. There's just existence, pure and simple, like the jellyfish's existence, like the ocean's existence. Just being, without effort or striving. As you drift deeper into sleep, the jellyfish begins its transformation one more time. You watch as it shrinks and settles, as it becomes a cyst, as it sprouts new polyps. The cycle continues. Life continues, and you continue too. Carried on waves of sleep into dreams, into rest, into your own renewal. Tomorrow, you'll wake refreshed, ready for a new day. You won't have transformed as dramatically as the jellyfish, but you'll be renewed nonetheless. And somewhere in the ocean, a jellyfish will be pulsing, hunting, living its immortal life, keeping secrets that we're only beginning to understand. Sleep now, peaceful traveler. The jellyfish watches over you, though it doesn't know you're there. The ocean holds you, though you're safe in your bed. The universe continues its ancient patterns, and you're part of those patterns, connected to everything, held by everything, eternal in your own way. The immortal jellyfish cheats death by embracing change. Perhaps we cheat death too, in our way, not by living forever, but by living fully, by learning and wondering, by connecting to the vast web of life, by passing knowledge and love to those who come after us. We're mortal, yes, but we're also part of something immortal, the ongoing story of life on Earth. So rest now, knowing you're part of that story. Rest knowing that mysteries remain unsolved, wonders remain undiscovered, and life continues to surprise us. Rest knowing that a tiny jellyfish, no bigger than your fingernail, holds secrets that might one day change the world. Rest knowing that you've touched that mystery tonight, if only in imagination. The waves lap gently. The jellyfish pulses. The moon shines down on sleeping waters. And you sleep too, cradled by wonder, carried by curiosity, held by the gentle knowledge that life is strange and beautiful and full of surprises. Good night, dear sleeper. May your dreams be full, peaceful oceans and gentle transformations. May you wake refreshed and renewed, ready to face your own cycles of change. And may you always remember the immortal jellyfish, the tiny creature that cheats death, that teaches us about flexibility and renewal, that reminds us to stay curious about the natural world. The jellyfish drifts on, pulsing through dark waters, carrying its secrets, living its quiet immortality. And you drift on too, into dreams, into sleep, into your own necessary rest. Both journeys are beautiful. Both journeys are essential. Both journeys are part of the same vast pattern. Sleep well. The ocean is calm tonight. The jellyfish is safe, and so are you, held by wonder, embraced by knowledge, connected to all living things, through the simple fact of existence. Sleep well, and know that tomorrow brings new possibilities, new discoveries, new chances to wonder at the world. The immortal jellyfish pulses one last time in your imagination, then fades into gentle darkness, and you fade too, into sleep, into peace, into the quiet renewal that comes with rest. The story continues, as it always has, as it always will, and for now, that's enough. Good night.